Good morning, students. Today we will start with pollen pistil interaction. Pollen, that is the male gamete carrier, and the pistil, which is the female reproductive part which receives the pollen and facilitates the fertilization of male gamete with the female gamete. We have already studied about the pollination, that is transfer of pollen to the stigma of the plant. But pollination does not guarantee the transfer of right type of pollen. Often it transfers the wrong type of pollen. The question arises, what is right or wrong? So what is right pollen? The pollen which is compatible to the stigma is known as right pollen. While wrong pollen means if the pollen is incompatible, that is it may be of either another species or same species but not compatible, that is self incompatible pollen. So in this case it becomes difficult to proceed with the fertilization. So it is very necessary that pollen that lands on the stigma should be compatible to the stigma. Now the question arises, who will decide the pollen is of right type or wrong type? So only the pistil has the ability to recognize the pollen. If it is compatible, pistil promotes the post-pollination events. But if it is incompatible, then pistil prevents the post-pollination events. If the pollen is of right type, then it is accepted by the pistil, but if it is of wrong type, pistil rejects the pollen by preventing the pollen germination and the growth of pollen tube inside the style. The recognition of the pollen by pistil is done by a continuous dialogue between the pollen grain and the pistil. The dialogue is mediated by chemical components of pollen interacting with those of pistil. These interactions lead to the recognition that is followed by either acceptance or rejection. If the pollination is compatible, then the pollen grain germinates on the stigma, produces a pollen tube through one of the germ pores. The contents of the pollen grain move into the pollen tube. The pollen tube grows through the tissues of the stigma, style, and reaches the ovary. Students, recall that we have studied about two types of pollen, bicellular and tricellular. Bicellular pollen, in which the generative cell divides into two male gametes after the pollen germination. But in tricellular pollen, the pollen tube carries the male gametes from the beginning before the pollen germination. As and when pollen tube reaches the ovary, it enters the ovule through the micropyle end and enters one of the synergids. As a result, the cell bursts and the cytoplasm is released. At the corners of the synergid cells, we have studied that a filiform apparatus is present which guides the entry of the pollen tube. All these events, from the pollen deposition on the stigma until the pollen tube enters the ovule, are together referred to as pollen pistil interaction. A very dynamic process involving pollen recognition followed by promotion or inhibition of that. Knowledge gained in this area, that is pollen pistil interaction, helps the plant breeder in manipulating the pollen pistil interactions even if the pollination is incompatible in order to get desired hybrids. A plant breeder is always interested in crossing different species and often different genera to combine the desirable characters in order to produce commercially superior varieties. Often a plant breeder achieves this by a technique known as artificial hybridization. It is one of the major approach of the crop improvement program. In such crossing experiments, it is important to make sure that only desired pollens are used for pollination, and on the same time, stigma must be protected from the contamination from unwanted pollen. This is achieved by some techniques like emasculation, bagging, artificial pollination, and rebagging. For this, first of all, a breeder must select a female plant and a male plant. For female plant, it contain bisexual flower, then the breeder removes the anther from the bud before the anther dehisce. This is known as emasculation. After emasculation, the flowers are bagged because they contain the female reproductive part as it is. This is known as bagging. When the stigma of bagged flowers attain receptivity, mature pollen grains are collected from the anthers of the male parent, are dusted on the stigma of the bagged flowers which are on the female parent plant. The flowers are again rebagged and they are allowed to develop further. This is known as rebagging. Let us see how the emasculation and the bagging are done for artificial hybridization. With the help of scissors, the anthers of the flower are cut. Now this flower is a female flower. A bag is taken, a clip is attached. When the stigma gets mature, it is being dusted by the pollen grains from the male parent plant. Now, this plant is done with the artificial hybridization. Emasculated plant is considered as a female parent and the plant from which pollen are collected is considered as a male parent. In case of the plants which bears unisexual flowers, emasculation is not needed. Remaining all the steps are same. Using this artificial hybridization, a breeder can achieve or attain desired characteristics in a same plant. Let's study how to prepare a temporary slide for pollen germination. First of all, some pollen are dusted on the glass slide with a drop of sugar solution. After 15 to 30 minutes, observe the slide under the low power in microscope. We can observe pollen tubes coming out from the pollen grain very clearly. We can use flowers of chickpea, pea, Crotalaria, balsam or vinca for this experiment. The next is the most awaited moment, that is double fertilization, a very critical event in any of the reproduction technique. When the pollen tube enters the synergids, it releases the two male gametes. One of them starts moving towards the egg cell and fuses with the nucleus of it and completes the syngamy. Syngamy results in formation of single-celled diploid structure known as zygote. At the same time, the other male gamete starts moving towards the polar nuclei of the central cell which is diploid in structure and fuses with it to produce a triploid structure known as primary endosperm nucleus. The fusion of three nuclei takes place, hence it is always considered as triple fusion. Since two different fertilization takes place in the single embryo sac, the phenomenon is commonly known as double fertilization. Double fertilization is an event that is unique only to the flowering plants. The central cell after triple fusion becomes primary endosperm cell and develops into endosperm, while the zygote develops into the embryo. Let us study the same phenomenon with this animation with the more clarity. A flower with the female reproductive part. Here is the embryo sac. When the pollen from the same flower or the another flower lands on the stigma, and if stigma finds it compatible, only then the pollen germinates and forms pollen tube which goes through the style and reaches the ovary, thereby entering into the ovule by micropyle and releases the two male gametes. One fuses with the egg cell, other with the central cell, resulting in the formation of zygote and primary endospermic nucleus. Once the double fertilization is achieved, the flower goes to the next stage of the post fertilization. There are several structures and events which take place during post fertilization that include endosperm development, embryo development, maturation of ovule into seeds, maturation of ovary into fruit. These structures and events we will study one by one. The very first is endosperm development. It occurs just before embryo development because it is meant for the nutrition of the developing embryo. In most of the plants, the primary endospermic nucleus undergoes successive nuclear division to give rise to free nuclei. This stage is often known as free nuclear endosperm. Followed by this, cell wall formation occurs and the endosperm becomes cellular. The stage is known as cellular endosperm. Both these endosperm can be clearly seen in coconut. The cells of the endosperm are filled with reserve food material that gives nutrition to the developing embryo. Let us locate both types of endosperm in a coconut. Number of free nuclei formed before cellularization varies greatly. The coconut water from the tender coconut is free nuclear endosperm, while the surrounding white kernel is a cellular endosperm. Endosperm may be completely consumed before seed maturation in plants like pea, groundnut, beans, or it may persist in mature seeds, for example, castor and coconut. Here, it is used while seed germinates. So, up till this, we have covered the post fertilization structures and events endosperm. The further events that are embryo development, maturation of ovule into seed, and ovary into fruit will be covered in the next lecture. Till then, keep studying.